The dojo was silent, save for the rhythmic thuds of feet striking mats and the sharp cries of students practicing katas. Outside, the late afternoon sun cast long beams of golden light through the high windows, illuminating the sweat on the brows of determined students. In the far corner, almost invisible in his faded blue shirt and dark work pants, a quiet man pushed a mop across the floor with slow, deliberate strokes. His name was Elijah. No one really knew where he came from or how long he'd been working there. He simply was always arriving early, always staying late, always cleaning, fixing, sweeping, invisible to those in white GIS and black belts. Until that day. Until the moment the head instructor, Master Riker, a six-degree black belt with a booming voice and a swagger to match, stopped mid-demo, pointed to Elijah and said, "How about you, big guy? Want to spar for fun? If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of hidden strength, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Trend. You won't want to miss what happens next." Everyone froze. The students mid-punch lowered their arms and stared. Elijah looked up slowly, eyes wide. Mock paused mid-wipe. For a second, silence blanketed the room, and then quiet laughter rippled through the class. "Spar the janitor." Surely Arker was joking. The way he smirked, half amusement, half condescension, made that clear. But Elijah didn't laugh. He didn't even smile. He placed the mop against the wall, wiped his hands on his shirt, and nodded. Elijah stepped onto the mat barefoot, calm, his every movement measured. He didn't ask for gloves, didn't tighten a belt. He had none. The students watched with a mix of curiosity and pity, some already whispering about how this would be over in seconds. After all, Master Riker had a reputation, fast, fierce, brutal. He'd once knocked out a visiting black belt in front of an audience during a regional tournament, and now he was about to have fun with the janitor. They bowed. Riker bounced on his heels, grinning like he was about to play a game with a child. Elijah simply stood there, shoulders relaxed, expression unreadable. The match began. The first move came from Arker, a feint, then a lightning-quick roundhouse kick. Elijah leaned back with the grace of a dancer, letting the kick miss by inches. Riker blinked. The second strike was a punch, fast and sharp. Elijah sidestepped it effortlessly. Then something shifted. In that moment, the class began to sense something was different. Elijah didn't fight back, not yet. But his evasion, his footwork, his control of space was masterful. His movements weren't hesitant or defensive. They were patient, precise, like he was reading Riker's thoughts before each strike. A few of the senior students exchanged glances, the earlier smirks gone from their faces. The moment Riker's composure faltered, Elijah struck. One move. A quick clean sweep followed by a controlled push to the chest. Riker hit the mat with a thud that echoed through the room. A stunned hush fell over the dojo. Riker leapt up red-faced and rushed in again, this time with real aggression. But Elijah countered with a blur of blocks, dodges, and a spinning motion so fluid it looked choreographed. Riker stumbled again, his pride unraveling before everyone's eyes. The students weren't laughing anymore. They were speechless. What they didn't know, what no one knew, was that Elijah used to be a national champion in his youth before his life fell apart. Before his brother was taken from him in a street fight gone wrong. Before depression and guilt hollowed him out and left him wandering for years, looking for meaning, for peace. He'd walked away from tournaments, from trophies, from the fame, choosing instead the quiet life of labor, silence, and healing. He hadn't stepped onto a mat in over a decade, but the body remembers the spirit. Once awakened, rises, after several rounds. Riker bowed out, pride battered, eyes filled with something between confusion and respect. Elijah simply nodded and stepped off the mat. The dojo erupted, not in laughter, but in stunned applause. Even the most skeptical students now looked at him with awe, as if seeing him for the first time. And maybe they were. From that day forward, Elijah wasn't just the quiet cleaner. He became something else, a silent teacher, a reminder that greatness isn't always loud, and that power often wears humility like a cloak. He never asked for a belt, never demanded recognition. He still cleaned, still fixed things. But occasionally, he would stand beside a struggling student and offer quiet tips. And every now and then, when no one expected it, he'd step onto the mat and move with the grace of a storm held in check. There was one day, weeks later, when a young student asked him why he never showed off before, why he let people mock him or overlook him. Elijah looked down at his callous hands and said softly, "You don't need to be seen to know your worth." Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who choose silence until it's time to speak. If this story touched your heart, please don't leave without liking the video, sharing it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribing to Kindness Trend for more real, powerful stories that remind us of the strength and humility and the beauty of second chances. Special request: tell us in the comments, have you ever been underestimated? What did you do to prove your worth? We'd love to hear your story.